Evil Planet.
I remember like when I was younger, I was obsessed with stand-up comedy. I wanted to be a stand-up comic for like years because like just how much it like inspired me. It just breaks my fucking heart that like I can't find a comedy special that's actually funny nowadays.
This is going to sound so bad in retrospect because he has one of the worst reputations, but you have to keep in mind I was probably 7 years old. I was obsessed with Dane Cook around that age.
Yeah, same.
I thought it was the funniest shit in the world. And
Yeah.
I didn't understand any of it. But
here's the fucking thing.
It's because he acted like a child too.
Yeah.
So
it is
immature.
because he was just like really immature. Same thing.
Yeah.
But like the reason like Dane Cook gets like so much fucking hate now is because like, oh, you're a joke thief. You're a joke thief. Dude, everyone steals jokes. Everyone's admitted like, yeah, we just steal each other's bits now.
I personally would never do it because I find it distasteful, but going through the history of a lot of famous comedians, it's very clear that certain people are just allowed to get away with it because people like them. Like Robin Williams is a great example of that.
Carlos Mencia wasn't able to get away with it. Joe Rogan fucking called him out on it and basically ruined his career.
I mean, think about it like this. Maybe this is a poor analogy, but this is how a lot of things just boil down to clicky, however you want to pronounce it, high school bullshit. Even like your average job. You know what I mean? Like people will get away with shit that other people will not be allowed to get away with, and it's just because like they're not part of the in-group at that place. Whether it's like a minor amount of power, like a manager, or maybe a owner or whatever. They don't like this person or they get on their nerves. Like they're going to find an excuse to fire them. Or if you like somebody, you're going to fucking justify giving them a promotion. And, you know, going back to, you were talking about Joe Rogan a moment ago. There's so many comedians that would have never gotten to where they are now on their own if it wasn't for the Joe Rogan bump that they received.
Dude, yeah, it's like, what's his
so
name?
Many
Brian
unfunny
Schaub?
comedians.
Yeah,
Brendan Schwab or whatever.
Yeah. You know what's fucked up? In his new special, Joe stole a Brendan Schaub bit. He stole one. Yeah. And it's like you stole from like one of the worst comedians that you've ever propped up.
They're so they're so dumb. They hang out with each other all the time. They're constantly, you know, and I smoke weed too, but at the same time you have to understand like when you're like that, when you're that level of stoner, sometimes you will just like repeat jokes that you've heard other people say. And in that environment, like they're too stupid and they're too fucking stoned and they're too just not taking it seriously to the point where they don't even realize that they're like potentially stealing somebody else's joke. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that too. Like, I don't think I don't think he intentionally stole his joke. I think he's just an idiot and he can't remember.
Here's some things though. Like Joe has like all these henchmen now, and like some of them I actually found
Joe
funny.
Rogan sphere,
yeah. Like Ari Shaffir, I thought was hilarious. I thought Tom Segura was fucking funny.
Ari's terrible as a person, but I don't know about his comedy. I find Shane Gillis can be pretty funny, but
Shane Gillis can be funny.
Once again, he's just a terrible person as well.
Tim Dillon? Tim Dillon's fucking funny too. Like Joe surrounds himself with actually funny people, but he brings them down.
Well, he has way
while
too many
simultaneously propping himself up.
He has way too many unfunny people that he's propping up just because he likes them. Bert Kreischer. Oh God, that guy's awful. That guy's insufferable.
He had one fucking interesting story. He's just running into the ground.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, like I used to love like Doug Stanhope. You know, Doug Stanhope was yeah, he like 60 inches of AIDS was like one of my favorite jokes. You just don't have that anymore. It's just so disappointing.
I used to really be into Dave Chappelle. I still like his older stuff.
Like
Killing Him Softly, For What It's Worth.
The Chappelle Show is amazing.
Yeah, all that stuff is incredible. But his newer stuff is like, oh my God, I feel like I'm being like,
I
feel like I'm being lectured. Yeah, exactly.
It's just like a college professor lecturing you.
Your friend's dad who can't stop talking about trans people and
I was gonna say
being made fun of on Twitter.
With him being a fucking transphobe, man.
I think he just can't get over it, man.
It's like the political brain rot has just gotten to these guys.
Let me tell you about how I'm being canceled in my Netflix special that's being blasted out to 25 million people across the globe.
used to like
I'm
you
being
would
silenced.
used to do a lot of comedy. Like a lot of comedy did have political shit in it, but like it was just observations about everyday life
Hmm.
that just don't exist anymore. And not in like a Jerry Seinfeld way either.
Well, I think one thing that's changed is that people complain about everything being political these days. And very
Yeah.
recently, it's kind of crystallized in my mind what one of the biggest problems is. And we can transition into talking about all the election stuff in a minute that we have here to talk about. But I want to hear what you guys think of this, because what I've realized is that in the last, it's specifically the last 8 or 9 years since Trump went down that fucking escalator and all this shit went down. And I'm not saying that this is just a Trumpian thing, but Trump broke people's brains, and what it did to the average person is made them, in a way, think they're more politically aware than they actually are. Because, like, now people will be more open to talking about politics in situations and environments and with people that maybe they wouldn't have years ago. It's so surface level that if you actually question them on it, they can't give you any details because there's nothing there. There's no substance to their political ideology because they don't actually have one. They're just listening to like Tim Pool or whoever the fuck on the internet or in the news, and it's so opinion based and emotionally charged and just full of misinformation and propaganda these days. People just have no fucking frame of reference or clue what the fuck is going on.
I would say I'm also guilty of that to an extent. I need to learn more about my local politics because like I went to go vote. Just like I don't know who the fuck half the people on this ballot are. I keep getting up. I got a Sunny D now.
Sunny D, he.
Dude, that's what I'm upset about. Like all of these foods that like I know are bad for me are probably gonna get like banned. Because like RFK is like you're not supposed to drink Sunny D. You're supposed to drink cow piss. Some bullshit like that. Oh, dude, Steve Bannon looks like fucking. He looks like Santa Claus as if he like shaved his beard.
He looks like if you took a really wrinkly ball sack, you took the balls out, and you just had the loose skin. You stretched it over somebody's face. I'm fucking Canadian. You are both American, so I'll let you both give your thoughts on it first. Just, I don't know. I think we all kind of expected Kamala to probably win, but we knew Trump might win.
The 50-50, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way that like most of the polls were. I was convinced that there was a sleeper vote, like sleeper Kamala vote. I was convinced that like the polls were wrong, that they were giving Trump too much of a advantage because they didn't want to look stupid.
Yeah.
Like they did in
accusations of
2016.
hurting, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, there's no fucking way he's going to win because he's saying all of this stupid shit and he's doing all of these dumb stunts right before election day.
All the signs were there, even more than 2016.
And I was just flat fucking wrong. And some of the people that like I listened to, like Kyle, for example, I was like, dude, Kyle called he called 2020 like perfectly. So I thought like, oh well, he's in the know. So
What is it? The one guy, he's considered like the Nostradamus of polling, said that this was going to be a Harris victory.
Yeah, there's quite a few people who've had pretty good track records when it comes to polling and predicting election outcomes. Seltzer.
Yeah,
I believe
the
was
Iowa
one of the
poll.
people. Yeah, that turned out to just be a complete outlier, though. That was just a complete statistical anomaly, because Iowa pretty strongly went for Trump. I think there was some contention, but one of the biggest issues that people have been talking about, obviously people have been throwing out racism and sexism because Kamala was a black and Indian woman. And I think that's definitely a component. I don't know if anybody can necessarily deny that, but that's not the whole story. I think she was just also just a very unpopular candidate who was elevated to a point through circumstance that she probably never would have gotten to organically before. I mean, just look at her primary performance back in 2019. Like, come on. That exposed her for what she truly was, which was a politician who was willing to say anything and do anything and just has no actual principles, just wants power. And I think she probably would have ended up being a better president, like if she would have won. But you do have to admit that there's a lot of stuff that is just downright fucking horrible that she probably would have continued doing, like supporting Israel's genocide against Palestinians and Arabs in Gaza and the West
Well,
Bank and in Lebanon and in all these other countries now.
Well, either way, you're voting for that, though.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's the
on
problem,
one
right?
on one hand, you're voting for someone who would probably not give Netanyahu everything he wanted, but would still give him most of everything he wanted.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, it's like he's gonna give him more than what the fuck he wanted. He's like, oh, you can just have Gaza now. You can just settle it.
Yeah,
Fuck
I'm
it.
gonna bring this. We were gonna talk about this later, but I might as well bring it up now because we're talking about it. So here are some of Trump's picks and some of the things some of the people he's floated for positions. He's already selected Elise Stefanik for U.S. ambassador to the UN. She's absolutely insane. She's a Zionist, taking a lot of money from AIPAC. Rick Scott has been selected for Senate Majority Leader. I mean, he did like a bunch of Medicare and Medicaid scams, didn't he? And he was never held accountable for it. Took a lot of money from AIPAC as well. Trump has also floated Marco Rubio for Secretary of State. I mean, I don't even need to say anything about Marco Rubio.
Little
It's just-
Marco.
I like how some conservatives were pissed over the Marco Rubio pick.
I mean, dude, a lot of MAGA fucking morons have been like, what? What is going on? It's like, are you fucking dense? What did you think was going to happen? He was president before. What did you think was going to happen, you fucking idiot? I don't know, man. And like going back to what we were talking about, like all the people that we mentioned are people who are completely cucked to AIPAC and the Israel lobby. So they're going to be fucking terrible when it comes to supporting Israel's fucking genocide and wars.
Like half of these picks, though, are going to be gone within the first year. They're going to get fired or they're going to quit.
Yeah. But
So
it's indicative of, like, even if he replaces those people, it's indicative of the kind of people that they're going to be replaced with,
Yeah.
Just fucking
You didn't-
ghouls.
You didn't wash my balls well enough, so I got to get a better ball washer.
This administration is going to be like so hawkish, so aggressive. It's going to do nothing but add fuel to the fire in the region with, the Russia-Ukraine war. As you mentioned, the genocide that Israel's doing against Palestinians and Arabs and not just what is considered Israel these days, but even beyond that, Lebanon. Trump has talked about doing direct attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities. Try and pronounce that, not stupid. But yeah, it's unreal. Like the line I have here that I wrote is just things are going to get far worse before they can ever get better. And I think we're going to see things like, I don't know, like we were talking about.
You called it before, any of this happened. And I mean, it was, bound to fall in this direction. And like,
dude, it's a fucking disaster. Like, we can quickly go through this stuff, but we all knew what was going on here. We have an article here. Steve Bannon admits Project 2025 is the agenda after Trump wins, because Trump was going around saying, oh, Project 2025, I don't know anything about it. That's not my agenda. We're not doing that because it was so unpopular. He had something I believe was called Agenda 47. But now, no, they're coming out, Matt Walsh, Steve Bannon, all these fucking ghouls coming out saying, now that the election is over, and this is a direct quote, now that the election is over, I think we can finally say that, yeah, actually Project 2025 is the agenda. And that's from Matt Walsh. And Bannon was signal boosting that, saying Matt Walsh, I think, is a very smart and funny guy. Oh my god!
Yeah, so we can just
Matt Walsh, very smart and funny guy. Yeah, okay. Now that the election is over, I think we can finally say that, yeah, actually, Project 2025 is the agenda. So they literally just want to do fucking Handmaid's Tale shit. We can talk about this too briefly before we touch on the next article that we have here. Have either of you seen what's happening to Nick Fuentes right now?
Yes. Yeah. So as soon as Trump won, he started saying shit like, yep, now we control your bodies.
Yep.
Haha. It's me. It's your governor, and we have a say in your body. It's not your choice. It's your governor's choice. And he just like kept cackling, and that video went viral.
On
and
TikTok.
a bunch of
Ooh, yeah.
and a bunch of pissed off women found his address and started reposting it.
The funny thing is, people were coping on the right, like, oh, he doesn't even live there. It's just he just owns it through an LLC. And it's like, no, he was literally there. He was hiding in the basement.
Well, it technically he lives at his mom's house, and he lives in his mom's basement. I hear he's broke now.
He's looking for cum stains, the blue light or whatever.
Oh, that was his friend that lived with him. His friend left and is now like A-logging him.
That's so funny.
Yeah. The reason I think that he was like looking for cum stains was because he can't handle that his friend had a girlfriend.
Yeah, pretty much. Did you hear about the woman who went up and knocked? She was like 50 or.
I thought you had the article. Yeah. So
no, I don't have the article, but we can briefly just mention it because everyone's been talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I showed you the article a few days ago when I found out. So a woman, not a 60-year, but like a 57-year-old woman with like blue or purple hair or whatever the fuck. Like this is like a vegan feminist woman decided to just like knock on his door with her friend recording, and Nick immediately like burst the door open. He maced her, pushed her down his stairs.
Yeah.
And then like took her phone. I think broke her phone. I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah,
and
destroyed her phone, yeah.
And apparently the police were called and they just like were like, ugh, why'd you knock on his door? Whatever, get out of here. Yeah. I'm surprised that he's not going to jail for assault right now. He is so fucking lucky.
Well, you guys in America have this mentality where if somebody knocks on your door, I guess that's free reign to just murder them. In America, there seems to be this, like, it's like I knocked on somebody's door and they shot me in the fucking shoulder. And it's like, why'd you knock on their door? Instead of just, why did they shoot you? You know?
It depends on the state you live in.
There should be no state where knocking on somebody's door is free reign to shoot them. I'm sorry, that's just deranged.
Get fucking shot.
Or turning around in someone's driveway because you want to like turn around.
Yeah, somebody might be lost. Dude, if somebody's lost, do you really want people being so scared to just ring somebody's doorbell and say, "Hey, I'm lost. Do you know where I can get to this place? Which way do I go?" And
or if you have like an emergency.
Or yeah, what if they're in trouble? Like, I don't know, if someone's hunting them fucking down. You know, they might need a safe place or something.
Michael Myers is chasing them.
Or Asmongold.
Oh, God.
I don't think he could chase down anyone, though.
This next article here.
Anywhere.
Going back and talking about more Project 2025 stuff here. Here is an article. The headline is Project 2025 co-author caught admitting the secret conservative plan to ban porn. In a hidden camera recording, Russ Vought explains that age verification laws are just pretext to shut down porn sites. I actually never talk about our porn agenda, said Russell Vought, a former top Trump administration official.
Fuck, his name is Vought?
I know, right? Like from The Boys?
Yeah.
Vought was chatting with two men he thought were potential donors to the right-wing think tank, the Center for Renewing America. For the last 3 years, Vought and the CRA have been pushing laws that require porn websites to verify their visitors are not minors on the argument that children need to be protected from smut. Dozens of states have enacted or considered these age verification laws, many of them modeled on the CRA's proposals. All right. Obviously, you both know that I probably am not in favor of this, but can we just talk about one thing for a second? If a kid has access to the internet, it figures that they probably were given an internet-connected device by an adult. So the question is it not the adult's responsibility to put locks on that shit, parental controls, and stop those kids from being able to access it themselves? How is that not the answer to this? What happened to freedom in America and personal responsibility?
I feel like a lot of parents are not too tech savvy to be able to figure that out.
Well, that's their fucking problem. They shouldn't be giving kids their devices then.
Or they'll give them an advice that they don't know connects to the internet. Like remember when the Nintendo DSi came out, or like the 3DS? Like I'm pretty sure most parents didn't know that could connect to the internet.
Well, I mean, I get what you're talking about. However, I think it's kind of incumbent upon you to know these things. If you get in trouble with the law, you know what they're gonna say, right? Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Like if
Right.
you fuck up and you break the law and you're like, oh, I didn't know that was a crime, nobody's gonna take that seriously. So if you fuck up with, taking care of your kid and you're like, oh, I didn't know, then I'm sorry, then that's you need to be more responsible.
That's not an excuse. Yeah, for sure.
I would definitely also say that if in that situation, the very specific situation you're talking about, it's also incumbent upon those companies to, make the information available. Hey, your kid can connect to the internet with this device. Be careful, put locks on it. That's also it's not just one thing in any of these situations. But at the end of the day, one thing I want to branch off with quickly just to bitch about because I hate this shit is I fucking hate that everything these days needs to be kid friendly. Why does YouTube need to be kid friendly when there's already YouTube Kids? What's the point of having a dedicated, separated app, YouTube Kids for kids, and then having to make the regular YouTube fucking app still kid friendly? Nobody can explain this shit to me other than it's just a fucking excuse for YouTube and other companies like that to act like they're doing something when they're really not. And then when they get pushed on it because they're not actually doing anything to protect kids or make an app that's like better for kids or safe for kids or more appropriate for kids, they have to just clamp down on everything because that's the only fucking way they know how to do anything. Because anything else would take more time, more attention, more effort, or actually giving a fuck beyond just wanting to make more money.
Bro, you can find videos of like adults dressed up like Elsa and Spider-Man.
Yep.
Like paddling each other and opening like Kinder eggs.
Injecting each other with like needles and shit. This has been something that's been around on YouTube for like probably 10 years or something now. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can find some like weird coded shit on YouTube that like on surface level doesn't look like anything, but if you actually watch it, it's like, huh?
Like Bill Maher and the kids.
Yeah.
How old are you?
8.
8?
Yes.
Wow, you look older than 8. Say this again.
This goes back to what we were talking about a moment ago, though, right? It's like they failed so hard at making YouTube Kids that people just don't give a fuck. They'll just give their kids access to YouTube, generally speaking, and then they expect YouTube to be kid friendly. It's stupid. Yeah. And it goes beyond, I just want to say this quickly because I want to get back to like the topics at hand, but it goes into real life and like, I'll just give this example. A restaurant you go to or a business that you go to or an event place or whatever that you go to, a venue. Everything has become so fucking safe and so fucking, everything has to be family friendly now, except for like the few places that definitely aren't going to be, like strip clubs, nightclubs, whatever. Like there's very few places now you can get that actual adult mature experience, or at least get the fuck away from children and families. And it's so frustrating because I feel like it's almost created this fucking society that we live in, makes everyone feel like a fucking child. And another thing that's a huge issue with that is everything having to be so irony poisoned. It's a very weird contrast when everyone's treated like children and everything's turned into a joke and people can't have serious conversations.
Or like everyone has to have like double speak now.
Yes.
Where like instead of porn, instead of porn, it's corn. Instead of the R word, it's like regarded.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
It's called algo speak, and algo is short for algorithm. I don't know if you've heard that name before, but that's literally what it is. It's modifying your speech so you don't get censored by a fucking internet algorithm. And it's affecting how people are speaking in real life. I've just been thinking a lot about this. Like, people just need to disconnect a lot more. Stop following all these random people on social media and, focus on talking to your friends on social media.
Or just get off completely and just go touch grass.
Exactly.
Actually,
but that becomes harder
grass,
when you work in, like, let's just say, online media. You have to be on social media to an extent, right? Or at least you have to pay somebody else if you have the money to do it for you.
Or if you work using a computer, it can be kind of hard to stay off of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Temptation's always there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll read a little bit more of this, but we always knew this was their plan. This year, the Supreme Court will hear a challenge to Texas's version, which took effect last September and drew from CRA's model legislation. In the covertly recorded conversation with the two undercover operatives, Vought led them in on a thinly veiled secret. These age verification laws are a pretext for restricting access to porn, broadly speaking. Quote, we came up with an idea on porn to make it so that the porn companies bear the liability for underage use, as opposed to the person who visits the website getting to just certify that they are of legal age. End quote. Vought called this a backdoor starting with the kids. And that's also a quote there. Backdoor starting with the kids, end quote. Offered the age verification laws.
Objection.
Oh, God. Offered the age verification laws as an example of an, quote, immediate fight leverage point that we can win that sets up the next fight. Privatize everything, take away all your rights, bit by bit, death by 1,000 cuts.
You have to buy your rights now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, it's already kind of been like that, because if you think about it, like, to actually get decent representation, you need to be able to hire a good lawyer, and that costs a lot of money. If you want good medical, then you have to pay for it, so that takes a lot of money. If you want good teeth, it takes a lot of money. If you want good glasses, takes a lot of money. If you want like to stay healthy and stay in shape, takes a lot of money. Takes a gym membership.
Yep.
If you want to be able to drive, takes a lot of money, and you have to continue to pay money for insurance that most people don't even really use ever.
Yeah, I just had my insurance completely cut, and it fucking sucks. I had to go to the dentist and pay $240 for a filling and x-rays out of pocket. Too much of an issue next year and beyond in Canada, but we're only now getting around to getting proper dental coverage.
You have to pay to eat food comfortably. The fuck that is.
Yes.
If you think about it like that, yeah.
I mean, if you don't get dental treatment, there's a good chance that you could get like heart issues and die from it very early.
I'm looking at the article that you have shared. The Musk appointed, along with Vivek, the Doge department.
Yeah, we can talk about this quickly too. Yeah.
Earlier clown world.
I am not excited about this. I fucking hate Elon with a passion. I think he's cringe.
It reads like an Onion article.
Apparently, like Tesla stock and Dogecoin have just been shooting through the fucking roof right now.
He's been basically proven to have been doing like Dogecoin scam type stuff, pumping and dumping, inflating the market.
Remember you addressed stuff like Wario and he tried to shill Dogecoin?
Dude, I had Dogecoin at the time.
You sold that shit immediately.
I pretty much sold it immediately because I saw it was tanking during that SNL performance. I was like, oh no, it's getting dumped, and then I just sold it. I already knew Elon Musk was like very suspect before that, but that was when I fully realized like, oh no, this guy's actually like a criminal, because like very shortly after it came out that he had been intentionally manipulating that market and like sticking his fingers in all those pies. He was doing shady stuff with Bitcoin too, saying that Tesla would accept Bitcoin and Dogecoin as payment, which caused the prices to go up. And then, he was doing like some kind of short-term fuckery with Bitcoin.
Okay,
and
so
there was actually a class action lawsuit. I believe it got dismissed, but he's been fucking around with all that shit for a while now.
Okay, so you sell crypto, but you don't trade crypto between people typically, especially not for goods
and services.
In reality, no. That was the whole point of cryptocurrency, was to get away from traditional banking, stuff like that. But in reality, it was, hey, I want to buy drugs, or I want to buy something shady online.
A currency that you actually go out and use day to day, like your nation's fucking currency, like if you're an American, the American dollar, and so on. You want that to be stable. You don't want that to be fluctuating wildly, because then it's not like a sensible choice, like you were saying, to be used to buy things. But the problem with crypto is they had to fucking like give some sort of use case for why this shit should even exist. Oh no, it's not just an asset. It's actually useful. Well, if it's not useful as a speculative asset, people are not going to give a fuck about it. Nobody's going to be trying to replace their fiat currency they're using day to day with Cardano. Nobody wants to take that shit. Nobody wants to deal with these fucking ledgers. Like, this shit is garbage. It's not good technology. Not useful for payments either.
And like you were saying, it's a speculative currency. It's not you trade for like goods and services currency.
Currency is debatable. It's more a speculative asset than a currency.
Yeah, it's like a stock. You just hold and you try and hope that you're not there for the rug pull.
It's all just make line go up so I can get money. That's all it is. That's all it's ever been. That's all it ever will be. Unless they radically change the technology to a point where it stops being cryptocurrency.
And it's just pulling your asset, pulling and exchanging it before like the whales decide like, oh, it's the day. I'm gonna drop.
Somebody always gets left holding the bag.
Yeah, it's usually a ton of people.
Yeah. That's why the whole diamond hands thing exists. It's to convince a bunch of gullible fucking rubes that they're actually becoming rich by holding on to their shit coins. Because if everybody just dumped their shit coins, then the whole thing would collapse. You need a bunch of people who are convinced to hold it for a while. If you pump it the first time and then nobody's holding it and it just completely collapses, then the ecosystem's dead. But if you have people holding it, you can pump it, dump it, come back later, pump it again, over and over and over. And that's what we've seen in the last like several years of crypto since the rise of like altcoins and everything.
But you listen to like libertarians back in like 20
Oh god, it was
like
so
20 yeah, 2016, 2018.
Remember Crypto
They're
Land?
like, it's the future.
That was hilarious.
Wasn't Crypto Land like supposed to be like a cafe where you only pay in crypto?
No, it was supposed to be
like
an island. It was supposed to be a sovereign island nation.
I'm thinking about who's that one guy? Shit, why am I blanking on this? Vanderchuck? What's his name? Gary V. That's it. He tried to make like a club where you only can go in if you have crypto.
Club annoying white guy who won't shut up about NFTs.
That's another grift hole idea. Is Vanderchuck?
Oh yeah, we're gonna cover him when we do that soon. But yeah, so this article here quickly, we'll just cover it because this was written before the election. But the headline here is Elon Musk predicts hardship and economic turmoil and a stock market crash if Trump wins. And
isn't that the opposite of what you would want to predict if you're betting on your horse?
Here's what
to win the race.
Here's what he's saying. He's saying he wants to do what Malay did, where you basically fucking intentionally crash the economy, do like insane austerity, and then balance it later on. And actually now it's better on than it was before. We just had to go through a period of economic hardship to get to this point. But in reality, all they're going to do is loot the entire fucking nation, transfer all the wealth that exists to the top like 1 or 2%, and then basically leave us living in a fucking cyberpunk dystopian future where we live in like Night City or fucking whatever, like the block cities from Blade Runner or Dread. Like that's essentially what they want to do to us. And then they want to either go to Mars or like, I don't know, go to their bunker in New Zealand.
Dude, eventually people are just going to be paying.
Man, I'm sick of this shit.
People are just going to be paying with blood, like literal blood.
I mean, Americans already are. I mean, if you're poor and you're American, what are you probably doing a lot of the time to get money? Oh, you just
donating plasma.
Plasma, yeah, exactly. Dude, when you're desperate, and it's an unfortunate place where we live in, but, a lot of people look at it and like, oh, that's exploitation. You know what? It probably fucking is, but is it any more exploitative than going and destroying your body working for Amazon so that they can fucking get somebody's package to their door an hour earlier?
Listen,
is it really that much worse?
I donated too much plasma in college. I'm not doing it again.
I mean, dude, that's your choice.
I don't care if I'm starving. I'm not doing that shit.
Listen, I'm a real libertarian. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's basically Elon's plan. And now him and Vivek are going to be head of the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. By the way, very efficient to have 2 heads of this organization instead of just one. Already starting strong with this government efficiency organization.
I know what's going to happen. Musk is he's going to be like, oh, I'm the idea guy, and then like Vivek is going to be like the actual guy who does all the work. It's going to be some shit like that.
I think it's going to be a complete shit show, and it's not going to go anywhere, and it's just going to be some bullshit so Trump can tell Elon and Vivek to fuck off while
probably
getting maybe potentially some points from people who like them. Because really what he wants to do right now is have a fucking solid foundation to do all the fucked shit that he's been talking about. But more than anything, I think he's just happy about these court cases going away. I think that's the main reason he wanted to be president again, because he's like, fuck this shit. You just get away
Yeah,
with all
you-
these crimes. I have immunity now, bitch. Fuck you.
Yeah, he just pardons himself now.
Mhm.
I remember like that was a thing. It's like, can the president pardon himself? Fuck, dude. I miss 2019. I miss 2020 now.
I miss fucking pre-2015, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not nostalgic for like earlier times in my life, but I do think back on the conditions back then, and I'm like, man, shit, we had shit so much better then.
Fuck.
And
I had my whole
we've just
life
been
ahead of me.
fucked so hard. Dude, I was fucking having a conversation with my parents the other day, and I was literally ranting, and they were like, yeah, they couldn't even disagree with me, because I was like, what the fuck do people my age and younger have to look forward to in the future? We're not going to be
Yeah.
able to afford homes. We're going to be
Yeah.
fucking working like 2 jobs all the fucking time just to support ourselves. The economy is mostly like retail and service based now, or like having some shitty fucking data entry job or any, like,
Yeah.
it's so
But-
soulless. We're not even going to be able to chill and go on vacations as much or at all like our parents did. We're going to be going into debt
Yeah.
constantly about everything. And we got to deal with fucking climate change.
Also, another thing to look forward to is people having less kids and you having less people to take care of your elderly when you grow up. If you have like a really shitty economy where people are constantly working, people are getting married later in life, people
This
aren't
is
having
true,
any
yeah.
kids, or they only have like one kid. Like I'm thinking about like Japan, for instance. Japan's fucked, or
Oh,
like
yeah.
Korea. They're screwed, and they have to let in immigration now. Because they don't have anyone to work jobs anymore. So, like we shit on immigration here, but like someone pointed out to me that oh, you deport all the illegal immigrants, then a lot of these jobs are now going to have to be filled by American workers, and American workers are now like they're going to demand higher wages, or this is probably what's going to happen. They're going to hire a bunch of American workers. They're going to say that, oh, now the cost of production's up now, and
Jack
they're
up
not
the
going to pay.
prices.
Yeah, they're going to jack up the prices, and they're not going to pay any of the workers anything anymore.
Nope.
Than what? Yeah. So they're just going to use like, oh, we hire American as like a reason to like inflate costs, and all while probably shipping jobs overseas to like Bangladesh or like fucking India.
Yeah, they're outsourcing as much as they can. Any company that can, they're just like outsource all of this. We have a couple more things to talk about here. We can go through them very quickly. We're already talking about
George
people being tapped
Soros?
for positions. Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment, but we need to talk about this because we've been chatting about it earlier off stream.
Oh
making
yeah,
jokes.
RFK.
RFK for Health and Human. I believe that's what it is. Health and Human Services. There we go. Yeah, the Republicans have the presidency, the House, and the Senate now. They did a clean sweep.
I have been making fun of RFK for like months now, right?
Yeah.
Because RFK deserves to be made fun of because he's a
Yes.
fucking weirdo. He is a weirdo, like Nepo baby.
Oh yeah.
I've shown you guys his TikTok before where he's just like in his house. Like he'll be like, there's a grasshopper here. It's a bird grasshopper.
Here's my
It's
raven.
usually I'm training the ravens to tell me when people are coming near my house. It's so I know when to get my gun.
I just found in my house. That's called a bird grasshopper. When you first catch them, they spit tobacco. That's what we used to say when we were kids. They have this brown liquid that they spit out of their mouths. Anyway.
He is insane.
How many stories are there of him just like finding roadkill or like hitting an animal with his car or like taking dead parts of a whale from a beach and like I was gonna go cook
There's
him?
it-
Like what's going on with
there's
this
it-
guy? He
there's
ate a
at
dog
least
too.
one-
Like what the fuck?
Oh, he'll cope and say like, oh, that was a goat.
That was a goat.
It's like, dude, that's obviously a fucking dog. But like he recently said that he was going to ban fluoride from our water.
Yeah, just insane.
Yeah, and if you don't understand, like fluoride helps keep your teeth healthy,
Yes.
and without fluoride, your teeth are more susceptible just rotting the fuck out of your skull.
They've done this in certain communities in Canada and America where they've taken fluoridation out of their waters and people's bones are fucked up. People's teeth are falling out of their head. Children have way more cavities. Like it's just stupid to take it out. We've already
Yeah.
figured this shit out. What the fuck is wrong with these people? They're trying to take us back to the Stone Age, man. Hurts my brain.
This is the kind of guy who will be like, you shouldn't vaccinate your children, but you should put them on TRT. And he said that the reason that he wants to get rid of fluoride is because it's lowering the IQ of Americans.
What is it? How?
I don't.
Through what mechanism?
Fund education. Meanwhile, they want to fucking book burn.
Yeah,
Piece of shit.
They defunded education, won't fix these fucked up pipes in places like Flint, Michigan. And then they're like, oh, people are getting dumber. Like,
listen,
yeah,
guys,
because you guys don't want to fucking fund any of the shit that would make people smarter or increase education, make people want to learn more.
It's not the fluoride in the water, or it's not the lead in the water. It's the fluoride that's making you more dumb, or decreasing your IQ, making you more aggressive.
I gotta read this direct quote from RFK that's in this article because it illustrates exactly what you're talking about. Quote, "There's no vaccine that is safe and effective."
Whoa.
Just deranged. And they're tapping this guy to be the fucking Health and Human Services fucking secretary? What?
Back in my day, when we wanted to protect against disease, we just go roll around in dirt. we just eat grass.
Oh my god. What? I don't even know if I want to read the rest of the article because I feel like I'm just going to fall into an even deeper depression here. But yeah.
Yeah, so we have Elon, we have Vivek, we have Musk, we have Rick Scott.
The fucking circus.
Elise Stefanik, Marco Rubio.
Little Marco.
Mike Waltz, who is like mirror universe evil version of Tim Walz.
There's a silver lining. At least Ted Cruz isn't here. He hired a Fox News guy who almost killed somebody with an axe throwing incident. Or he almost killed somebody in an axe throwing incident. He hired him to be part of the administration. He hired him to be the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, what the fuck is going... Like, this is insane. Mentally unwell behavior. Okay.
Trump was like, you've been in the military. You know how military works. You know military. You'll do it
this
good.
Guy almost kill a civilian with an axe. I want him defending me.
You should be the Secretary of Defense because you know how to defend yourself.
He puts his fist up.
All right, so it looks like the end of the episode here got cut off by our software, but I'm just going to read the article that we read together and point out one of the last things we wanted to talk about here, which was this interview that JD Vance did just before the election, where he cites Social Security as a target. So, during an interview on the Sean Ryan show, JD Vance discussed targeting government programs and was specifically asked about Elon Musk's role in a potential Trump administration. Vance affirmed Trump would appoint Musk and mentioned Social Security as one of the targets. In an example of targeting Social Security, Vance went on to cite a claim of rampant Social Security fraud among migrants. Migrants and migration have been a go-to for MAGA Republicans in political tax and policy discussions. Vance mentioning Social Security as a target for the Trump administration is concerning. Trump and MAGA Republicans have also wanted to narrow the definition of who is eligible for citizenship, even suggesting some who have legal status should now be deported. Such a move could purge those who paid into Social Security from receiving benefits. In another section of the interview, when Vance was asked what programs he would target first himself, he cited welfare programs and Section 8 housing. JD Vance himself supported cuts to Social Security in many old blog posts of his that can still be found to this day. It is clear that Republicans, more than anything else, want to target programs that help the poor and the vulnerable, along with cutting taxes on the rich and raising taxes on the bottom 90% of earners. Thank you all for tuning into this episode of Evil Planet. Unfortunately, the last couple minutes we had got cut off here and I had to kind of re-record it. But thank you for watching and supporting the show. We hope you enjoyed this one and have a good one. Take care, guys.